Okay, so I've actually had a couple videos I've already done of this same process, but I'm doing another one just because I don't actually know what happened to the footage. But this has to do with the Airsoft replica that was supposed to have made, or I was going to attempt after I built that, basically the prototype housing. And I did, but I don't know what happened to the video. So this is actually going to be the third rifle that I build because it turned out really pretty wicked. So I actually bought so I bought an AEG. I bought just a store-bought rifle just so I could compare it to the ones I was building, because I've never played airsoft before. I've never built a rifle before, an airsoft rifle. So I didn't know like how it was doing, or how it would compare. So that's kind of the point of buying one. And I don't know if maybe I just got like a really shitty one or not, but it kind of sucks. So I do plan to buy another one. And I got some more footage. Like I took these out to the range, and I was just kind of doing some plinking around and stuff. But this video is basically just building one of these with the parts that I've customized for the housing. I'll put some footage of that original housing that I first printed, and so you can kind of compare with what I'm about to build. And so this third one, each one of the rifles that I built has actually been a little bit different. I've modified it in some way. And this one's going to kind of be a hybrid. And I still have to print some stuff. Like I'm printing the lower receiver right now. I do have a lower receiver printed, and this one was one that I customized for my skeletonized version of the rifle. This was this is just a backup one I had made out of PLA. The one that I'm printing now is carbon fiber reinforced PETG. So I also have some PAHT CF that I'll be using to print one of these too. Actually, I already printed one of the rifles with that for like the lower receiver and stuff. But for this rifle, it's primarily going to be made out of PLA for now, because this is just what I have on hand today. And then this is the carbon fiber reinforced PETG. And that's pretty much what it's going to be made out of. I do have a couple pieces that are made out of just regular PETG, like actually this is one of them. So I got a fake charging handle because otherwise it wouldn't have the fake charging handle. So let's get into it. So the gearbox that I got is a CYMA stock version 2 gearbox. This is what's going in the lower receiver. So this is a lower receiver that I customized. I cut a bunch of holes in, and this should work for, actually I know it'll work for this AEG. So there's a couple of things we need to do to this. And so one of the things is put in the fire control, the safety lever, if you want to call it that. So the safety lever has two parts. It's got this like disc that sits kind of down in, and I'm actually trying this new angle for the camera. I don't know how it's probably better than my other one actually. I usually have this just sitting over here in the corner. Okay, so it basically has this disc and this lever that goes on the outside. Oh, so disc and a lever. And the lever, when you rotate it from side to side, it rotates the disc, which moves the plastic piece that slides up and down the optical sensor in this gearbox. This is the piece that it's going to be moving forward and backward, like there. So to do that, I just gotta, first I gotta find the right, okay, this is what I was using. So I've already done this for a couple rifles, and I've been just trying out different parts to see what like works really good and what doesn't. Works really well, I guess I should say. So that's all that goes into this fire control lever, and it's really loose right now. I need to work on this just to make it a little bit more snappy into the positions. And I originally had like text here, and I was trying to go like all really fine with it and like high detail and stuff, but I actually took that out, just put an X and a couple dots over here. So the reason I didn't, and actually the reason I'm just doing solid black, I actually initially did like multicolored, you know, I colored the letters and the symbols and stuff, and it just took way too long. I was using like a 0.2 nozzle, so I was waiting like for one print. Actually, it took 3 days to print this piece alone, and that was it was just aggravating, I guess. I'm a lot less patient when it comes to stuff like that. So this piece, as is with carbon fiber, will take like 10 hours or something like that, and it prints in like this orientation. So 10 hours isn't bad. So another thing we need to do is put in, oh, and actually I gotta go get that. So this is the ambidextrous magazine release. And so that just kind of drops in here, and then it actually pops out. So this is where that goes. So I'll be able to push this in to drop the magazine. And that's important for me because I'm left-handed. So another thing that goes in here that works with that, where did I put that, is this little like disc. It's kind of almost like a disc, but this will rotate, and this end pushes out on the magazine release lever, and that works in conjunction with this button. So I gotta get this in there. If I can find my tweezers. Okay, so okay, that should work. Seems to work. Okay, so the next thing is dropping in the gearbox. So this is a rear wired gearbox. It's got the positive negative that goes to the motor, and then this is the battery wire. So the positive negative kind of drop out this hole in the bottom. This battery connector goes out the back. And this is kind of a little bit of a pain to get in here because it's a very, very tight fit. So I always have to grab some tweezers and make sure that that ambidextrous magazine release button is all the way pushed up against that wall. So this will slide right past it, and then I also have to make sure that my fire control lever is facing semi-auto, however you want to pronounce that. And then I just kind of have to work it in here. On a good day, drop right in there. On a bad day, I'll end up breaking this housing. I just gotta kind of wiggle it in and out a few times. And this is the weak point on this lower receiver. Once everything's together, I have some components that I'll put on it that support this area a little bit more, and I'll go over what those are, because you know, starting out, I broke a couple of these, and so if I can successfully get this gearbox in there, then I can support that whole area. Shazam. Okay, so now that that is in there, we just got to double check that button to make sure we didn't mar the back or bend it. It's a really tight fit, so the wall of this gearbox is sitting right here next to this button, so if it's not back far enough, it'll block this button from being pressed. So when I put it in there, I just have to make sure that everything's lined up for all the controls to be able to work later on. So you can see that moving this fire control will move this blue flat plastic piece, and that is moving an optical sensor inside of the gearbox to determine if it should be on safety or actually semi-auto versus auto, and then it has a physical stop for safe. So kind of cool. All right, so the next thing that we have to do is we have to put the magazine release lever in. I did model this because the one that I had that somebody else modeled, it was just like a thin flat piece right here, and it was like really flexible and it would bend easily, and so I wanted something that was a little bit thicker on this back side so it would bend less. So this slides in right here perfectly, and then on this side we need to use a spring. And so what I've been doing is using SCX24 shock springs. These are actually perfect size, but this fits perfectly. It just drops in here, and then this actually has a hole in it, and it slides over that tube just like so, and then drill that guy down in there. So this also has a rear pin that kind of holds it in place. It slides right in there, and you kind of push it through, and here's the other side. So essentially very similar to a real AR platform. The controls are pretty much in the same spots. Same way of taking it down. You have a rear pin, you have a front pin, and then you can separate the two main halves. So that's pretty cool. The next thing I'll do is the stock. So this stock tube, which I have put heat set inserts in 3 spots around it, and I'll model something later, but I do want to find a better way of attaching this. This basically goes in here, and then this slides onto this tube, and you can see that I put some little cutouts in this to match up with these bolts. And so this, oh, actually I forgot a piece. We forgot our sling plate, which is this guy right here. So this actually goes on first, because otherwise my holes won't line up with the screws. So that goes on first in case I want to put a sling on it, which I might. I just you know, as soon as I can figure out if there's anybody out there that wants to play some war games with me, I just think it would be fun. Okay, so this goes on just like that, and then this, just take these and screw these in, and these pinch this stock tight to the lower receiver, kind of hitting everything with these wires right now. So that's good enough for now. The next thing that I'll put on is the actual stock. This stock, again, I used a spring back here. I do have a skeletonized version of this on one of the rifles, and I'll post that in a different video, and you can actually see the spring in there. So this has one spring, and then the battery basically will be housed inside this tube, inside this, and an easy way to get to that is through this stock. So it has this sliding button on it. This rotates to the side, pulls off, and then you can get to the battery in there. And I printed this, it was just on a carbon fiber 3D plate, so I kind of printed some different parts on that. I think it looks pretty cool, but anyway, that's how the stock works. So that just kind of slips on there, snaps over, and it kind of locks into place. It doesn't lock into place that well though. So you can actually, you know, push it and it'll pop over. You can see that it slides that button, but it does. I mean, it works okay. I do want to make it a little bit better, so it's a little bit harder, so you don't, you know, bump it and you're thing, you know, rotates and slides off. So when I put this on, I actually usually take this off and then get this wire popped out the back. And to slide it on, you need to depress this lever basically, and it pops in there just like so. And so it's fully adjustable. Just got to find the right hole. Okay, so then after that, I'll just tuck the wire in there and slip the butt plate on. The next part I have to do is put the pistol grip on, and I actually probably should have done that first. So I have a few different types of these too. I put a bunch of holes here. So this rear positive goes in the rearmost hole in the center. This negative goes in the frontmost hole in the center. And then this thing just slides on here like so. The other 4 holes are for keeping it on there. I actually had just disassembled this whole housing because I was going to switch out this nozzle on this gearbox for another nozzle, but then I decided I'm just probably going to use that for this. I have a plan for another rifle, and I'm trying to make it hard enough that I should not be shooting humans with it, and so it's just going to be, I guess, mostly for experimenting with, but I'm not going to shoot anybody with it, or, you know, it wouldn't be field legal anyway from what I've read. I actually don't know if this would even be field legal. I haven't fired it because my last part for this particular rifle came in today. So I'm going to put the barrel and the hop-up unit in, and I will actually test fire it and chrono it and see what it's shooting at. I bought a tracer unit that has a built-in chronograph. I don't know how accurate it is, but we'll see. I do have a regular, like, chronograph on the way, so I'm interested. I'll compare the readings that I'm getting from each one of those when it comes in. It's been kind of an I mean, not too bad, but it is, you know, since I didn't have anything for Airsoft prior to my bright idea to see if I could 3D print a housing. So, you know, getting everything, all the internals, and then, you know, eye protection, face protection, all of that stuff has been kind of spendy just starting out. But it doesn't have to be. Like, I think, so we have parts on the way, and it was like $260 for everything to get to build a working rifle. The one that I bought, the fully assembled one, that one was like $150. So I got a lower end one, but I thought it would actually be better than what it turned out to be. So the plan is, and then the motor actually slips right in here. We just got to connect to these 2 points, just like so. The only thing I will say about the one I bought is the setup, like the materials that are used, the setup of like the wiring and stuff like that. It is actually, it's better than I could do. We'll say that. So basically, I just jam everything in here, make sure that my motor is pushed down there far enough. The wires are out of the way, and they're not. So this one just takes one 6mm screw, and I actually put a heat set insert in this too. The next thing is the upper receiver, basically the whole upper. So I'm just going to set this to the side, and we're going to start assembling this. So this is the upper receiver, and you can see that this is the skeletonized version. I have several versions for just about every one of the parts I just put together on the lower. This rifle is going to kind of be a combination of the two rifles I built previously, which at some point I will get videos out of those at the range. So, and that one's actually has some cool stuff because I was shooting something else at the range too. But anyway, that's a different video. So this one just has a basic dust cover that I just made. I do want to do a better job at this because it's not on a spring. It should actually, you know, clip into place, and I actually mounted it a little bit too low so it doesn't like snap in and stay shut. Well, it stays shut now, but it should just, you know, there should be a tactile click. Oh, I guess there is a slight one if I kind of try to feel for it. But anyway, it's just has like a dab of glue at each one of these. And so it's just kind of like a cheesy way of getting something to cover the hop-up unit and stuff. So that's something I got to work on. One thing at a time, I guess. So this has an assembly that slides into it. And so what this does is it is the piece between, or that holds your barrel and handguard, and your hop-up unit slides into this little cutout. So this actually slides right in here just like that. Very nice. And then the barrel, actually let's put the barrel on first. So I have so many different types of these barrels. This particular barrel is made out of carbon fiber reinforced PETG. And I ported it just because I thought it looked cool, but I actually just made a really cool barrel that I think it's cool anyway, that I have to actually print. I did print one version of it, but it is in my girlfriend's rifle, and I printed it out of Bamboo Labs. Oh, what is it? It's like a silver Silk Plus. It's PLA, which I want to print one in black carbon fiber reinforced PETG or something like that, so the threads don't, they're a little bit more robust, I guess you could say, because threading on and off a tracer unit all the time, if it's made out of PLA, I already came across this issue, they will just slowly start, you know, just getting worn down, stripped out, coming unraveled, things like that. So I have not come across it if I use carbon fiber reinforced stuff. So so the barrel goes into this piece, and I printed this out of PETG, and then this assembly slides right in here. Okay, so my camera overheated, so I switched it out. So where were we? So I have for this, so far for all three rifles I've bought a different hop-up unit. This one is from Lancer Tactical, and so we're gonna try this. Hopefully it works. I'm just gonna try to use what this came with, and we'll see if that works at all. If it doesn't, I'll just try something else. So the barrel, this is an Arcturus 6.02 millimeter tight bore barrel, and this one is 280 millimeters. So I'm putting on all but one anyway the same length barrels, and that way I can just kind of see what parts, what combination of parts work the best. We'll just put this bucking on here, and then this would slide in here, which it also came with a like a tensioner nub. Still new to all this. Okay, so that should be back far enough. So this is going to be a little bit short. It shouldn't matter too much. The handguard is what attaches to this, and I already have pieces attached to this. So this is a modified handguard that I printed, and so this is a few different pieces. So I printed, these rails are attached via a couple screws up here, and then I screw the rearmost bolt into this piece. so it's drilled directly in there. And I actually should probably replace those with heat set inserts, but at this point I'm just being lazy, and I really want to fire this and test it out, so that's where I'm at with that. So also I printed this foregrip. This is a foregrip that I modeled for my skeletonized version. It looks cooler than my other foregrip. Apparently my girlfriend thinks that one looks like a keg, so and then this one, like, I have this custom end piece for it, so I have like all these modular pieces that can fit together. So like this would actually come out, and this can actually attach onto here to extend this. So, and then I have like mounting pieces that actually clamp over this end in case I want to run a longer barrel. So that's actually what this piece is. It's been sitting over here, but I'm actually just going to run this just like this for now. Okay, so once it slides on, that's kind of how it looks. Pretty sweet. So you can see the barrel in there. It would be easier to see it if I had printed it in like silver like I did my girlfriend's. It actually looks really cool. And so to secure this handguard to the upper receiver, there's 2 screws that I put in the top, and then these, which I have to modify this first slot on all 3 of these other rails, I drill a screw down in. So these are 25mm bolts. M3 is the only hardware I've been using for this. Okay, and then for the other 3 rails, we've got 10mm. And these are the ones I really need to put heat set inserts in and just have, you know, nice threads that they could, you know, thread into rather than just drilling into the plastic. Kind of ghetto for now, but whatever. I plan on going back through each one of the rifles and just kind of sprucing them up, making the parts maybe that didn't print really well the first time better. Okay, so this is generally the upper half all put together. So the barrel, which is an Arcturus 6.02mm tight bore barrel. So that is what we're going to be using in this, and it's a little bit short. I might actually get a longer barrel and put this barrel in something else, but we're going to be using a Lancer tactical Hopup unit. I have 3 different Hopup units, so I'm, you know, new to this. I've said that several times. So I'm actually just trying out different things. I have a Pro Win Hopup unit, which is blue, and that's in one of them. I have the Max M4A Pro, which is really expensive comparatively, and that's in my skeletonized one. And then I have this Lancer tactical, so it'll be interesting to kind of compare them all. So that just slides right in here, if I can get it in there. Okie dokie. I believe that's good enough. So also with this Hopup unit, with the upper, this is the tracer unit that I'll be using with this one. So this is an Ace Tech or Acetech, I think it's Ace Tech blaster. And this threads right onto that outer barrel. It's going to be interesting firing this. So then together we just slip this upper onto the lower, make sure everything lines up. It looks good. And then we'll put in our front pin, just like so. And we've got a rifle here. Let me back this up some. The tracer unit is kind of tucked into this handguard. The handguards have been extended. I just kind of like the look of it for the most part, so you know, how the tracer unit's kind of tucked in the end of the handguard. If I did end up going with a longer barrel, that's what this is for. So this would actually just slip onto the end and I would mount it permanently like that. And then my barrel would actually come out here. But that, I think I'll use something like that on a different build. But for this one, I think we're pretty good. Oh, I'm on a roll today. My battery just died again. Okay, so this is basically... Oh my gosh, my phone battery is dying now. Basically, this is everything put together. It should theoretically be a working airsoft rifle. So the only thing now left to do is to test this. Now this gearbox is, it hasn't been shimmed. It's just like it comes from the factory. I plan on upgrading the gears, but I do want to actually just use it stock without shimming it, without doing anything to it, just to see kind of the quality of these types of gearboxes. The first one I got actually broke every which way I could think of, and so I ended up upgrading like the gears, the piston head, the like inner nozzle, just about everything. So with this one, we're gonna leave it stock, and then, I mean, for as long as possible anyway. If anything breaks, I'll just replace it. But I think this looks really cool. I like this, the whole design. The tracer unit's kind of tucked into the handguard. I just personally like that. This one actually doesn't have any sights on it, so this is just fake. Oh, you know what? I actually also forgot. So on my other rifles, it doesn't really need it, but it works to support the end. I have, oh, actually, you know what, also with those, so we'll get to those. So this is the charging handle, fake rear sight. So this actually is what I mentioned earlier that supports this part of the lower receiver. This actually slides onto the rear, and it's really tight to get that thing on there. But you know, it adds a little bit more realistic look. I know, yes, it's not super realistic, but it also works to support the lower receiver, so it won't break nearly as easily. Let's see what else. Safety seems to work. So flicking it down, it snaps into place. After that, it kind of gets a little bit loose, going to like between semi-auto and full auto. Yeah, it actually feels better than with my other two rifles. So I could do a little bit better job lining up this Hopup with the magazine. It's a little bit too far off. It sits too far back a little bit. All right, so there she is, a fully built AEG. You know, I guess it's mostly skeletonized at this point. Everything seems to work. Safety seems to work. In terms of durability, these are more durable, or they seem more durable than I was actually expecting. I was expecting, you know, like, oh, I'll have to treat it really, really carefully because it's super fragile. But it really isn't. If you think about the components and, you know, trying to support them as much as you can, you know, like this rear piece, and then actually this one, so this one actually goes with these, so I printed some other pieces too, but these actually drill into the end. Let me go ahead and mount these. I'll get actually a picture of this kind of laid out, because it's kind of like I'm cramped in here, so you can't really get a good feel for this weapon, this fake weapon. Okay, so basically I'm just going to put a battery in this and see if it cycles. I hear a beep. Let's try full auto. Ooh, that's badass. So, to get a good idea of the range of this one, I'll have to take it out with the other ones just to see how everything works, how it compares to them. So that's upcoming. So for now, all I know is it works. I don't know. I'll have to adjust the hop up to get the maximum distance I can with this. It's shooting without knowing which way I'm going to go with the hop up unit, about 335 feet per second. With 0.28 gram BBs. I'll be alternating between 0.28, 0.3, and 0.32. Those are the three sizes that I have, so that's what I'm going to sight everything in with. I'm pretty sure that this is shooting too hot for like field limits. From what I've found, it's like 335 feet per second or something like that, or 350 feet per second with 0.20 BBs. Lots to learn, but it doesn't matter, because if I go out and play with my brothers, then we can shoot a little bit harder. So, you know, obviously, so I also bought face protection, face masks, or teeth protection, I guess, teeth and eye protection. So I actually have to take those out to the range and make sure that those are up to par before we actually shoot at anybody. So that's upcoming. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I want to do that I have planned, so I guess stay tuned for that. And I should have a video coming out, you know, just kind of going over all of that stuff pretty soon. I just gotta find the time to kind of edit it down and remove all the boring stuff. So until next time.